yes, as you know, this monthly online reset is just to keep the connection going and to not let you forget, because this is it. We easily forget, being busy with day-to-day life, basically. And it's, being a teacher, I'm kind of in that space, all the time, definitely when people come for a retreat. But I know that when that's not the case, and, you're doing something else, keeping up with the me time, tuning in your personal practice can be a bit challenging, yet it's really what we need. And but as we were starting to talk about last month, ultimately, the work beyond all of those beautiful practices that can certainly help us is also this feeling, this self-love and self-acceptance, self-trust, self-belief, this feeling I am enough. Because even we can, often approach our practice from a place of lack than anything else. And then it doesn't even give us the benefits that it could give us. And then those things that we're doing to help the process can come as some kind of band-aid more than, really getting to the root of where we are and what we really need to heal and make peace with. And so yeah, that's why last month we're talking about, creating our own personal mantras of beliefs that actually support us. And, I was talking about this, saying, I love you, I love me, when, we're actually, in the mirror, or, really talking to ourselves in a way that's loving, empowering, just really championing yourself, because it's all to do with the thoughts we have, even this lack of trust, and that's links down to fear. Yeah. Fear, we know, is the biggest block. This is what, literally robs us of our happy, really. Fear is what keeps us in a situation, or, maybe job, relationship, whatever, that are just less than satisfactory, or, at best, and worse, that actually, really impacting us, killing us slowly, really, and that's what we really need to understand. I don't know if you read the message, there's an email I sent for the Thanksgiving, and I can't remember, but I made a mention about water, and, to look at the work of Professor Emoto, Dr. Emoto, around water and the impact, when we're saying, I love you, the water, just the crystallization of it just becomes so beautiful. And when it's, being hate or even ignored, it's just has a very different effect. You can look online and see, because a lot of people have tried it for themselves. And actually, I think it's really good, especially with children, to really get them to understand that, in a very basic way. I think they use rice, and, in one of the jug, you say to the rice every day, I love you, like you're enough, I love you. And then to the other side is like, I hate you. And in the same amount of time, you see that the one that's been, exposed to hate and negativity and stuff is just rotting, literally, and the other one is just staying fresher longer. So what does that tell us, for ourselves, considering, we're 60 to 80% or more water, This is why the way we talk to ourselves is so super important. And last week I was saying, if you just do one thing, is like to stop criticizing yourself, to stop putting yourself down, to stop, telling yourself that you're dumb when you do, something, or, just, that's where we become our own worst enemy. And often, it just becomes so automatic that we really need to, become more mindful about what we say and what we actually, sorry, I just saw Jessie, um, what we, what we're actually, saying and putting out there, to ourselves. That's why, when the mind just, comes up with the same kind of thoughts that are obviously just not serving us, to just, as soon as you notice it, just like stopping it there and just like, I love me. I am enough. I am enough. Even if that becomes a mantra that, you have to repeat it all day to just actually feel it. But this is it. It's all to do with how our mind vibrates. And if we don't have what we want to have in our life, it's down to that. It's just, and this is something where we have the choice. We're not, it just means, developing that awareness so that it becomes easier and easier. But, we have the choice between, having thoughts that bring worry and fear and panic, or thoughts that just, bring some happy and feeling good. And this is it. We decide. We have to take back ownership of the mind, because ultimately, it wasn't given to us to upset us or enslave us or whatever. Yet, for in a lot of cases, that's what it does. The mind is here to listen to you, really, and that's what it does. Anyhow, that's what it does. Even when we're being negative or, having fearful thought or imagining the worst and stuff, the mind is just going to give us exactly that, Yeah. But if you start, this is where intention is so important, and this is why we need clarity. And if we don't take the time to really, ask ourselves, okay, what do I want? Not letting doubts and fear coming into it, because that's what just stops us in our track. And this is why this work of, just talking to ourselves nicely, even going back to this, inner child idea, it's there, it's in us. And if you just think, would I talk this way, to the 4-year-old me? There's no way. And ultimately, no one is going to value you as much as you're going to value you. So this is why investing the time and even the energy in becoming more mindful to the way we talk to ourselves, the way we treat ourselves, the way, not ignoring what we're feeling, because this is it. That's just the feelings, is that we need to align that mind, that heart, that body, and the feelings is really guiding us. If we don't make them wrong, don't dismiss them, and all those kind of things. And this is why, things like anger, it's not good to be angry, but there's so much power beyond that. Hey, Raya, our anger is like, it's covering the sadness, and the sadness comes from feeling powerless about a particular situation. And if we understand that, and if we can look at it and see, how have I given my power away in that, for instance, we know in some ways how we can reclaim that. And often is, being true to what we're feeling and expressing that. And again, that takes us back to fear. Fear is often the block. But, the antidote to fear is courage. And courage is like a door opener. From the moment we have the courage to say that thing or to do that thing that, we're unfamiliar with. And again, unfamiliar that's what the mind doesn't like, and the mind tries to avoid at all the costs. What's familiar feels safe, even if it doesn't feel nice. At least it's familiar, and this is how we easily get stuck into particular situation, because, well, it's not nice, but at least I know what that is. And unfamiliar is scary to the mind, but this is really what we need to train the mind to do. And each time you do something new, this is exactly what you're training your mind to do. And then you can go back and say, well, I've taken a risk, so to speak, and, I've trusted myself and it worked. And this is how we start to, consolidate that self-trust. And for those of you who have come to visit, it's like you've left where you've been and you came on your own often, often woman, but it doesn't matter, just you came on your own in Jamaica and, you can all this scary thing. But that was like just showing you that, you can do anything you put your mind to, and the only thing that would have stopped you to do that would have been fear, basically, and this is it again, feels the fear and do it anyway. We really have to be radical about that. And the more you do it, the more you see, this is where that sense of fearlessness comes. And that gives you more, self-trust and self-confidence. And this is really what we need. And again, beyond that, it's feeling I am enough and accepting yourself and self-love, self-care, comes into, all the different little habits we have into, creating a lifestyle ultimately that reflects that, So, it's a good idea to start your day tuning in and, meditating, sorting, working your energy, getting yourself ready energetically, mentally, and connected to your real strengths, which is, spirit, heart, soul. And from the time you give yourself that consistently, you just see already it starts to make the journey way easier. When you start to feed yourself good food and everything, you feel better in your body. And everything is linked. And this is where, it's all important. And remembering that anything we want, it's all down to us. And the moment we get that, we stop wasting so much time, invested in other people's story or thinking this is going to make it or this is going to do it. We know that keeping ourselves at peace, keeping ourselves balanced, feeling good in our body, in our mind, in our heart, that's really what's going to do it. And that's what helps to consolidate that self-belief, that self-trust, that really ultimately, in order to be successful and stuff, we need more than anything else. Because, could say someone with, kind of talents, but if they don't believe in themselves, and if they don't, and we all have talents, that's the thing, we all have been gifted with something special, and the whole thing is, reconnecting to that. And it's those things that you love, you enjoy, that really effortless for you and so on. But, to be connected to that, to have the talent is one thing, but then if you don't believe in yourself and you don't trust yourself, that's not going to serve you, that's not going to take you anywhere. So that's why, in a way, you're maybe even better off to have more kind of self-trust, self-belief, and not necessarily that much talent. You end up going further. But then, you're connected to your talent and you've got that self-belief and self-trust, then there's no stopping it, And ultimately, that's what we want, because that's what we can do, if we, really understand those things and don't allow our mind to, what's the word? To catch us in that, to make us believe that, we can't do anything, this is how it is out there, and, that's the system, that's the government, that's this country, that this, that. It comes really from us and, feeling so connected to ourselves and having strong intention, and trusting that and using our mind, instead of, creating horror movies, right? Just using our imagination to create our best case scenario. That's the thing. We have to invest in that. And if that means, writing reminders, in your, in your car, in your bathroom, on your mirror, I am enough. So that your mind just get exposed to that, just sees that. And, you know, there is this yin and yang in the world, and right now, you know, it's pretty, how's the word? Stressful. I don't think it's just stressful. It's, you know, stuff happening are quite confronting and, you know, can be really overwhelming, especially if we're not connected, you know, to within. You know, if we're not tuning in, and if we're constantly in that noise and the fear and, you know, um, the general anxiety and, yeah, fear of not knowing. You know, this week I received something. You know, it's like they're saying now extinction in just a few years. You know, and I was thinking, okay, interesting. Like in 2-3 years, apparently it's all gone. So where does that leave us? You know, what do we do? And I was thinking, well, even if that could be, or that, then we really have to make ourselves happy and really not care about the things that's so important. Like, what are the people going to think if you do X, Y, and Z? You know? And that's the thing. This is really how, the more you trust yourself and you do your things, the less you're concerned with what other people going to think about it or going to say about it. And this is another way of freeing ourselves and really living our life and claiming our happy, because that's the thing. We have literally everything we need to do that, but we've let so many things just cloud it and make it, you know, where some people actually feel so overwhelmed that, you know, they even ready to end it, you know. And as we were talking about last time, it doesn't even have anything to do with, you know, the material thing and what you may have or not, because we've all heard, you know, of recent, you know, famous people, you know, who have all they need, they have the money, things sorted out, you know, whatever, they still, you know, decide to commit suicide. So that just tells us clearly it has nothing to do with the external. It's really linked to how we feel within ourselves. And that connection, you know, that's the essential. And from we have that, from the time you can say, you know, I love myself, you know, I love who you are. I like, you know, how your mind works. I love how your heart works. I love how this body I've been given for this journey. You know, this is when we're not in conflict with ourselves anymore. And, you know, yeah, we're open to flow with what comes, what feels right, what feels good. You know, I've been out of this, the you know, working the 9 to 5, this kind of thing for so long, I kind of forgot. And then I was talking with someone and you know, they were explaining to me they can't get more time off. And I was just, wow, you know, I forgot about that you have to ask somebody to get time off work, or you made to feel bad when you're sick, you need a break, or, you know, you just, and calling in to say, right, I need a day off, or, you know, it's like people feel they can't do that. And that's just so unhealthy. And this is why this so many people getting sick and so many burnout and stuff. You know, I'm convinced we can heal ourselves the same way I am convinced we do make ourselves sick. And, you know, the biggest deception has been that, you know, we've been conditioned to feel less than, to feel weak, to feel powerless, to feel that, you know, we can't survive unless we have a job. Somebody gives us a job, you know, and that's just a lie. I mean, in my personal experience, and I was talking with, this is it. I think, you know, we've been conditioned to believe that we need, you know, certain qualification and diplomas and all those kind of things in order to be able to succeed. But then we have to ask ourselves, what is success really? You know, if, you know, having a lot of money in a bank means that you're killing yourself in the process, or you don't have anyone to share it with because, you know, you never really had the time for, you know, relationship or family and this kind of thing, what is the point? You know, what is the point? So this is where prioritizing our happy has to be, it's the starting point, is a foundation to everything else. And you know what it means, you know, personally. So of course, yes, do your yoga, do your meditation, eat well and so on, but it goes deeper than that. It's, you know, maybe forgiveness, so that you just set yourself free, right? maybe having that conversation that, you know, you've been scared to have, you know, be willing to be vulnerable and say, you know, this has hurt me and I cannot continue like this. So, you know, just speaking your truth. And I think sometimes when, you know, we're not very clear about that, this is where writing, I think it's just, it's amazing. And, you know, we're coming to the end of the year. This is it. This is the last month. And it's a good idea to just, yeah, to do that work, to close, so that, you know, you can set some nice fresh new intention to start this new year. And I don't know about you, but I just find it frightening how fast it's going. It's, yeah, another year that's going even faster than the one previous. And this is why, you know, we have to be connected to what makes us feel, yeah, alive, passionate, you know. And that's why we have to live on purpose. And often what stops us to do that is fear, you know, lack of self-trust and all those kind of things. And imagine if you didn't doubt yourself, what kind of life you could have, you know. And yeah, just play with that, write about that. If I really didn't care what anybody thinks, and, you know, what would I do? You know, how would that express itself? And this is it. I think, you know, we have no guarantee of what's going to happen tomorrow. And not feeling good, not feeling happy, feeling stressed and anxious and fearful and stuff is just, it's not just not nice, but the side effects to that are horrible, are horrendous. And that alone, you know, has to be inspiration to just feel different, to just, you know, that's going back to, I kind of went a bit haywire, but going back to the mind. And I was saying how we need to, you tell your mind what you want it to do. You see, instead of waiting for the mind, you've seen when we do the practice, yeah, when we do yoga, and sometimes it gets a bit challenging. And, you know, the mind tells you, oh, I'm tired, you know, I want to stop. And, you know, that's why we say keep up is a mantra for those times, you know, keep up and you be kept up. I think, you know, when we give up on ourselves, when we just kind of allows the stuckness, it just gets really tough to come back up. This is why, you know, and I'm not saying, you know, you need to do 2 hours sadhana and those kind of stuff, but just like even just giving yourself 5 minutes to tune in and to just breathe yourself in a powerful way. You don't need to do much, just one thing to serve you, you know, so that you're showing your mind that you're serious about this. You're serious about taking care of you. You're serious about putting yourself first, you know, because no one's going to do that for you ultimately, you know. And even in relationship, I did say we were going to talk about relationship. That's really something we need to do in order to keep ourselves in harmony with one another. You know, we know that if you end up to be being over giving, you know, over working on a relationship and stuff, you tire yourself, and they're gonna come at a point where, you know, you're resentful inside, you know, and that's sometimes where anger might spring out. So the anger is there, but why? Because underneath you feel sad that you've got to work so hard to be seen in that relationship, to be loved, to be heard, and so on. And that's, you see, the moment you can recognize that, and you can see that in a way you've created that because you've allowed it, right? You can just kind of rein that back, because now it's clear. You can see what you're to say to transform that, what you to say no to. And this is where I'm sure you've all heard me saying that before, you know, when we bring some satnam, some truth in any relationship, but I'm not just talking intimate relationship, but obviously there even more so, but all relationship, when we bring the truth of where we at, what we feel, what we, you know, really feeling and thinking, it's just either, you know, the relationship whatever needs to happen with it will happen, and it will be compensated. It won't drag on, basically. And we've said we don't have that much time to waste, right? We don't have no time to waste. So it's it was become more beautiful and stronger and more authentic, because you inviting, bringing truth to the table, the other person has to step with that too, right? And whatever their truth may be, but at least, things are clear, and and this is it. I think often there's so much, feeling in limbo, not knowing, or assuming, and all the stuff that happens because you're not using your voice. And using your voice is the quickest way to get clear and to know what's going on. And again, the fear is there because it feels unfamiliar, and I don't know what's going to happen. But just trust that whatever's going to happen has to feel better than nothing happening. But it's true, that feeling like you're stuck, like you don't really know, everything is, this is it. I think we have to be willing to face things, to just say to the fear, wow, well, let me just deal with it and see what comes out of it, rather than thinking, people waste years, just because they don't, there's that fear of saying what they need to say. What could have just freed them, liberate them, literally. And that's why I say courage is a door opener, door to your liberation, door to your freedom, door to something new. We can't be scared of the new. The mind is, because, as I was saying, familiar. Loves the familiar, but doesn't really like the unfamiliar. But in the unfamiliar it's new. It's just change. It's like, it has to be better, and that's what we really have to train our mind to say. So, maybe, I don't know, you've got this idea, or you've got a book in you, or you've got a project in you, or, you've got a story in you, or, all different things. And it's just about trusting and just doing it anyway. What happens, not everyone can like what you're doing. That's the thing. It's like some people will think, it's great, and there will be critics, but you have to trust that even the critics, that's their thing. It's the one that vibrates to you will find you, and that's the thing. That's why we have to be fearless about change, about understanding that any kind of resistance is fear, and fear is just keeping us stuck. The moment we can be fearless is like we become limitless at the same time, because fear is truly just the only thing stopping us. And it's linked to that, of course, not feeling good enough. But we can heal that feeling not good enough by using fear as what's the word? As a teacher, telling us that this thing that we feel most is definitely the things we need to go towards. And as we see that works and that serves us, then we start to have more self-trust, self-belief in ourselves, and ultimately, self-love. And that's really, what we need to do. I think that's just the quickest route to keep ourselves happy, healthy, creative, connected to our prosperity, abundance, and all of that. I think ultimately abundance is when you're being and doing what you came here for. And what I mean by that is that heart, soul connection, And it's trusting, just taking that leap of faith. And the moment you do, and you ask the universe to support you, and you trust that you will be supported because you're just being so truthful. And as we say, truth will always set you free. That helps us to step up our lives. And that's another story I've been saying that I want to teach, and I'm very clear about our blocks, and our blocks is that just thinking there's something wrong with us. And the biggest joke about that is that what we think is wrong with us is really the key to our uniqueness and our greatness. And the moment we can make peace with that and share it, uncensored, basically express it, then we're okay. So that's the ultimate work. And if that means just repeating it all the time, because the mind decides everything, and we can change our mind by deciding what we expose it to, what we, the kind of thoughts we have. We still have that freedom, but we don't make the most of it, and that's a shame. And this is why everyone needs to understand that more money, love, connecting to our purpose, all those things come from accepting ourselves, making love to ourselves in a way, yeah. And really trusting that, because that's the key to it all. If we're stressed out with worrying about money, stressed out in relationship, work, all those kind of things, we cannot tune into our inspiration. We're just on survival mode, literally. And I see it here, with people, really, I mean, everywhere now, a lot of people have to struggle. But here, I think it's even more in your face, and because it's literally, for the poorest people, hand to mouth. If you're worried about, oh, am I going to finish the month, or, and at least you have a job, but when you don't have nothing, literally, and there's no government help and stuff, this is why it's even more important to connect to your own creativity. And I find, people in poor country, and for those of you that travel, you must have seen that. They're extremely creative because, at the same time, they have to make the most of the very little. But for us, especially in the West, people in the West, where there's been so much, we live at a time where it's we've got the most comfort ever, through our history, and so much convenience at the touch of a button or a finger and stuff. But I think that has kind of made us kind of stagnant and a bit entitled. And it's amazing that there's so many people feeling so bad and disconnected, and therefore ungrateful about whatever the little thing they have. And as we just passed Thanksgiving for the one in the States and stuff, as the email I was talking about, I think ultimately, Thanksgiving should be something we celebrate every day within ourselves, because gratitude is another way where we can literally transform our life, transform the way we feel. And there is always something to be grateful for, just the simple fact that we can use, we are mobile and we can use our limbs, and, we can use our head, and all of that is a blessing, and the fact that we live in countries that are free, it's that's where we can't give up. If we give up, everybody's just giving up. But if we really do the work to make ourselves good, to keep ourselves uplifted, to become more of a solution in the world rather than impacting. Yesterday, I received a beautiful post, and I shared it. We basically was saying, regardless of what's happening in the world, I will not stop smiling at stranger. I will not stop smiling at children in the queue of the checkout. I will not stop, paying the coffee, forward for a stranger, and all those kind of things. And that's what we would have to do, because at the same time, when we do that, we feel good. It's when we we're kind, when we're giving, when we're loving, we feel good. And we can't wait for somebody to give that to us. We just have to even be willing to do that with a stranger, without any expectation of what might come back or whatever. Just because we want more love, we want more peace, we want more kindness into the world. And we know that starts with us, and that's where also we can't stay with feeling bad or angry and stuff. There's value in it, but I'm saying understand it. Don't let it fester. Don't let it wallow in you, because it impacts everything you do, it impacts your energy, it impacts everything. A few days ago, I was in Ocho and there's a kind of vegan Rasta restaurant that when I go there, that's the stop, because it's hard to get vegetarian food and all this kind of thing. So went there, got some lunch, and I took it away. Normally I eat there, and took it away and started eating. And I was just like, I don't know, there's something like, the food is not as nice as usual. And I was thinking, even the guy looked different. It was like, and my friend who knows him as well, she was like, I felt something, there was something about him. It wasn't as, and I went, yeah, it wasn't as radiant as it normally is. And, that was it. Something happened to him. I don't know what, maybe his wife left him, or he got, he felt he was betrayed by somebody, or he lost something, or, he lost somebody in his family, something. But clearly, it was just, his energy was not the same. And that got translated on the food, And even now I'm thinking the place as well didn't look as spanking as it would normally, This is why when we're feeling bad, it just messes up everything. And we can't allow that. And we can't allow anyone to do that to us, neither. That's the thing. That's where, speaking your truth will liberate you, because if somebody is not honoring you, respecting you, caring for you as you deserve to be, then they don't deserve to be with you in that sense, And if they're not willing to do the work or even acknowledge, that's the thing with relationship. If the two of you can't be human, that means, operating from the heart and from truth and honesty, then it's very, very, very difficult, And I don't think that's something that will ever change in a way, because that's it. We have to be willing to change. And in our willingness to change, then we start thinking differently, or we want, we project in a different way. And that's what brings about the change. But if there's a refusal to even hear or see or understand, then, that's the stuckness. And, why would you allow that? This is where, this saying that there are no victims, only volunteers, especially when we talk for adults. Sadly, children, are victims. And this is why a lot of the work I find I'm doing now with people is to, just heal that childhood stuff. It's like, it doesn't matter how we are, we may be in our 50s, 60s. It's like, we're carrying some pain from growing up, and this is why as parents, we really need to be, what's the word? Just, if you just give love to your children, that's all they need, really. Love and encouragement, and make them feel like they're more than enough, and that's it. That's all we need to do. And because the healing work is always that, just healing the pain of the past, and that then, just kind of gets dragged on, and we try to, just put whatever kind of band-aid to help with that, but it doesn't really work, because we really need to get to the root of it, and make peace with that, and forgive everybody involved, and all those kind of stuff, So, that's really the jewel of it. It's like all the pain, all the wrong beliefs we have about ourselves, often coming from taking on what other people have told you are or you're not. this is what needs to just be released and let go of. And that's where, when we stop caring about, what other people going to think or say, it just, you can flow with with what feels good, what feels important. And yeah. So, oh gosh, yeah, time's flying. We have 15 minutes. If anyone's got any question, anything, you can,